it's going to be double trouble on this first weekend in October. And after that game, it's going to be Delhi versus Kolkata. And this time we are going to Sharjah. Not Steve Smith, but it's going to be probably Russell Muscle in Sharjah. And I'm going to open right with that. We haven't seen the best of him. Could he be waiting for Sharjah to unleash?
Joy's got to take Kolkata first up. Go on.
No, I think Russell on Sharjah on a ground like this, Russell would say, this ground is a bit small because I'll hit the ball to Abu Dhabi. Morgan can hit on these. This is the ground for Moggs and Shubman to hit. But no, seriously, a lot of batting firepower out there. And I think, KKR batsmen will be looking at that ground and just relishing the opportunities. The interesting one will be how their bowlers adjust to it. Because honestly, I think both Mavi and Nagarkoti had a great match last time. But it was also, again, what we call the perfect storm of circumstances. They got an early wicket, they got a good catch, they were inspired, and things started happening on the field. And it's happened, that chemistry happens. Any of these guys, if they're under the pump for a while, how they'll respond to it. I think tomorrow, it's really important how Pat Cummins sets the tone. The other interesting thing is, do you actually play Kuldeep Yadav on this ground? Given the fact that he's not as his most confident, this is a graveyard for bowlers like Kuldeep Yadav. Do turn around and say, okay, I'll play the extra batsman here because in case there's this thing. Because Kuldeep is not going to be much use to me on this ground. But what could happen is he goes and gets stonked for about 25, 13, 2 overs. I will lose him for the rest of the tournament. So I would look seriously at saying, sit back and, there's Rinku Singh, there's, Nikhil Nayak, there's play an extra bat. It doesn't matter.
And Simon, they used 6 bowlers the other day, didn't they? They did. And the big man, Dre Russ, didn't bowl. So that they had 7 options the other day if required. And I know from the Kolkata situation, they don't want to use Andre Russell every game if they don't have to. And they want to bowl him sparingly to get him through the tournament, which is understandable. But I take Joy's point, and I think that's a fair point on Kuldeep. Chakravarti was brilliant the other night. He's certainly he's learning as he goes, and I think he will be better for another run. So yeah, I don't mind the fact that maybe if they look at another batsman, but they had, to me, with the young, those 2 young guys back in Mavi Nagarkoti, with Chakravarti bowling well, with Pat Cummins leading from the front, I just think that looks to me like and that's why I picked them as a finalist this year. They've got the best bowling attack, and I think, with Narayan, how many more chances at the top? Is Sharjah the ground for Narayan at the top of the order? Is it the ground that he gets a couple away and it gets his season or his opening batting back on track? So that's a couple of things to look at for me, what could happen in this contest.
The Narayan factor will be very interesting, but it's also a great battle between these 2 franchises. Always been a bit of history. Let's talk about the Delhi Capitals. And they've certainly been a team who have been impressive in the tournament so far. But the question is, coming on the back of that last loss, how much will that be impacting either their team selection, different venue? How will they be approaching this particular game, Joy?
So, I think this is one of those typical ones. This is a battle between 2 first benchers. These are not the large guys. These are the good boys who are doing well in the tournament, and everyone thinks they're going to do better. Likely semi-finalists, finalists. So these are up there. The thing about Delhi is, I think Delhi is very uniquely matched up to play against Calcutta. Because one thing that they have up front, which Narayan does not like at all, is raw pace. Rabada, Nortje, even Ishant, with the kind of length he has, the kind of length that he bowls is not the kind of length that Sunil Narayan likes. So, yeah, if there is a ground where you don't think that maybe playing Sunil Narayan up front is not a good idea, this in many ways is the ground, because they are not going to give him anything that's pitched up to him, and they have the bowlers who can implement that kind of an attack. It's not a 125, 130 kind of attack. These guys will go at 140 plus. Even Ishant will bowl at a late 130s, early 140s with disconcerting bounce. So they'll attack him. And that's what Delhi is going to do up front. Other than that, that team looks set to me. They have everything that it required. I would seriously think that I feel Rahane has a part to play in this tournament, because I think he's an anchor, he can turn the strike around. But with Shreyas Iyer performing that task so well, I don't know where they can fit him. The only person who's not looking a bit out of sorts for me is Shikhar Dhawan at this point in time. But he's still too good a player for you to turn around and say that, give him a rest. He's just too good, and that left-right combination works for them.
One more question I have in terms of that middle order. Since you're trying to get Jinx in, a possible candidate, Shimron Hetmyer?
Yeah, Shimron definitely. Look, but Shimron's the thing is with people like Shimron and all that, they're picked for potential. They can get 14, 15. They can get 45 and 20. They're the kind of guys who can do that. And you look at Rahane at the best of times, and you'll say he'll do a 130, 135. If he's really good, he'll do a 130, 135. He's not going to change a game. And that, unfortunately, in T20 cricket is a huge commodity. Players like Russ, players like Hetmyer, who can change a game in 12, 13 balls. So I think
he only comes in at the top for me, Joy, doesn't he? He can only play at the top. If he's going to come into that side, he's got to open the batting Jinx. So I don't see him as that 4-5 finishing role in any side anymore. He's got to have pace on the ball and be able to work it round. Otherwise, I can't. I'm like you. I love the bloke, but I just can't quite see a spot there for him just yet.
Yeah, he was so impactful when he used to come for Rajasthan up the order, and so different when he's got a mindset of playing red ball cricket when he does slot in that middle order. So I think that's really his role. And if you can't get him at the top, he'll just have to sit and wait for a while.